Looking at Roberto Duran today, you'd think you were seeing a homeless man in the street rather than one of boxing's greatest legends. The man they called Hands of Stone now lives quietly in Panama, far from the spotlight that once made him a global icon. At 72 years old, Duran's life tells a story of incredible highs and devastating lows. How does someone so powerful fall so far from grace? Roberto Duran wasn't born into boxing royalty. He came from the streets of Panama, where hunger was his constant companion. Growing up in extreme poverty, young Roberto literally could not afford to eat before a fight. His meals depended on one simple rule. He only ate if he won. This wasn't just poverty, it was survival by combat. That early starvation left deep scars on Duran's relationship with food. The boy who once fought just to eat became a man obsessed with eating. After becoming a professional boxer, Duran would party like an animal between fights. He ate whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. Late in his career, it became common for him to balloon up to 190 pounds when he wasn't actively training. This pattern of extreme weight gain and dangerous cutting became Duran's weakness. His opponents knew it, his promoters knew it, and they used it against him. The most famous example happened before his rematch with Sugar Ray Leonard, the infamous No Mas fight. Leonard's team made a calculated move. They scheduled the rematch on short notice, knowing Duran had gained massive weight after their first fight. This forced Roberto into a brutal weight cut that left him drained and poorly conditioned. He was walking into the ring already defeated by his own habits. But the Leonard fight revealed something deeper about Duran's struggles. While the world saw him quit in the 8th round, saying, "No mas, no more," the real story was more complex. Leonard had adopted a strategy of running and clowning around the ring. He taunted Duran, danced away from exchanges, and tried to humiliate the proud fighter. Duran later revealed his thoughts during that fight. "I can't hit this guy because he keeps running away from me. I'm better than him and don't need to prove anything to anyone. I'm out of here." It wasn't fear that made him quit. It was frustration and the realization that he couldn't engage Leonard on his own terms. The No Mas fight became a symbol of Duran's vulnerability being exploited. Leonard's team had deliberately weakened him through the rush scheduling, then used psychological warfare to break his spirit. It was a masterclass in how personal weaknesses can become strategic targets in professional sports. While Duran battled his demons in the ring, an even bigger fight was happening with his finances. His longtime manager, Carlos Aleda, was described as a greedy piece of garbage who screwed Duran over. Throughout his entire career, Aleda had complete control over Roberto's money and repeatedly told him it was being saved for retirement. The power imbalance was shocking. Aleda would make Duran sleep in janitor rooms while he stayed in expensive hotel suites. When it came time for the No Mas rematch, Aleda signed the contract without Duran's consent. Lured by the massive payday from promoter Don King, Roberto's limited education made him vulnerable to these manipulations. He couldn't properly read contracts or understand how the business worked. Years later, Duran discovered the devastating truth. "I never got the money, not $1. I lost all of it," he said. Despite earning millions from fights, including an estimated $8 to $10 million payday from the Leonard rematch, Duran was left with nothing but an airplane ticket back to Panama. His own manager had stolen everything. The financial betrayals didn't end there. In September 1993, Duran faced another devastating loss when his 5 world championship belts were stolen from his home in Panama. The theft was allegedly orchestrated by his own brother-in-law, Bolivar Iglesias, who sold them to a Miami businessman named Luis Gonzalez Baez. For Duran, those belts weren't just trophies. They were the physical embodiment of his life's work. He launched a 10-year legal battle to get them back, filing criminal complaints and enlisting the FBI to investigate. The case revealed the dark side of sports memorabilia trafficking, where iconic items are bought and sold for massive profits. Baez was eventually arrested trying to sell the belts to undercover FBI agents for $200,000. He claimed Duran had authorized the sale due to financial troubles, but a jury rejected this claim. On September 23, 2003, a federal judge ordered the belts returned to Roberto. Justice was served, but it took a decade of fighting. Throughout his career, Duran's fighting style matched his nickname perfectly. He was described as a street-born assassin with bad intentions in every punch. His goal wasn't to box, it was to break his opponents. This mentality extended beyond physical combat into psychological warfare. Duran was notorious for playing mind games before fights. He engaged in crude trash talk and provocative behavior designed to get under his opponent's skin. The most controversial allegation involves Sugar Ray Leonard's wife. According to multiple sources, Duran would park outside Leonard's house and make crude threats, telling her he was going to sleep with her after beating her husband. While Duran has denied making these specific comments, both Leonard and his trainer Angelo Dundee reportedly confirmed the story before Dundee's death. This type of behavior was part of Duran's comprehensive approach to breaking opponents mentally before the physical fight even began. His controversial tactics weren't limited to words. In 1972, Duran won his first world title against Ken Buchanan with a disputed low blow in the 13th round. Buchanan collapsed clutching his groin, and the referee stopped the fight. Sports Illustrated reported that Duran used every part of his anatomy except his knee. To this day, it remains Buchanan's only stoppage loss, though tinged with controversy. These incidents painted Duran as a fighter who pushed ethical boundaries to gain advantages. He understood that combat sports involved more than just physical skill. They required psychological dominance and a willingness to do whatever it took to win. After decades of punishment in the ring and battles outside it, Duran's career came to an abrupt end in October 2001. At age 50, he was involved in a severe car crash in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The accident left him with a collapsed lung and several broken ribs. His son was also in the car, but suffered only minor injuries. Prior to the crash, Duran had shown no signs of wanting to retire. He had fought Hector Camacho Sr. just 3 months earlier and lost, but was still actively competing. The crash forced a decision he hadn't been willing to make himself. "I can't return to fight anymore because recovery is going to take a lot more time," he announced. Even after surgery, hospital staff reported that Duran was thinking about fighting again, despite having difficulty speaking. His identity as a fighter was so deep that only severe physical incapacitation could stop him from competing. The crash ended his career on someone else's terms, not his own. In recent years, Duran has faced new health challenges that remind us of his mortality. In June 2020, he was hospitalized with COVID-19 after experiencing cold symptoms. He recovered weeks later, coincidentally on the 48th anniversary of his first world title victory. More seriously, in March 2024, doctors discovered that Duran suffers from an atrioventricular blockage, a heart condition requiring immediate surgery. He underwent an operation to have a pacemaker placed in his chest. His family shared updates on social media, and the boxing world sent prayers for his recovery. Despite all these setbacks, Roberto Duran has found something that eluded him for most of his career: contentment. He acknowledges that he's not filthy rich, given his illustrious boxing career, but expresses profound happiness. "I have my family. I have my health. I have a few small businesses," he says. Those businesses include owning a gym and a popular restaurant in Panama City's main district. He serves as the national ambassador for sports in Panama and maintains various endorsement deals. Remarkably, he's also a licensed ultralight aircraft pilot and continues making television appearances. Duran's perspective on success has completely transformed. Despite losing millions to financial exploitation, his happiness now comes from family, health, and modest business ventures rather than wealth or fame. "It was never about money to me," he insists, crediting his difficult upbringing with building character that helped him survive difficult times. He's transitioned from a life defined by fighting and monetary pursuits to one centered on personal well-being and community contribution. Even his approach to physical fitness has changed. Citing Argentine soccer star Diego Maradona as a cautionary tale, Duran says, "I don't want to look like Maradona did, all fat." He maintains his pride in physical condition, even in his 70s. The man who once lived like there was no tomorrow now plans for a sustainable future. His restaurant serves the community that supported him throughout his career. His gym trains the next generation of fighters. His role as sports ambassador allows him to give back to Panama, the country that shaped him. Roberto Duran's journey from a hungry child who fought for food to a content 72-year-old businessman represents one of boxing's most complex redemption stories. The same man who was exploited by managers, betrayed by family, and nearly destroyed by his own habits, has found peace through redefining what success means. Today, when you see Roberto Duran walking the streets of Panama City, you're not looking at a broken-down former champion. You're seeing a man who survived every form of adversity life could throw at him and came out the other side with his spirit intact. That might be his greatest victory of all.